Welcome back, or welcome to episode number 3. Y'all gotta excuse my hair. Curly hair is not no walk in the park. It ain't just, oh, do, throw it up. No, bro. It's a whole day's work. You got to wash, you got to condition, you got to da da da, and da 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 da, and it's just like hours, bro. And I just was like, so I just threw it in this little makeshift updo thing, and here we are. Let's get right into it, shall we? One of the biggest things that has happened to me in this walk, in this new person that I become through Jesus, is I found who I'm meant to be in Christ. You know, and who we're meant to be isn't who we want to be, it's who we're called to be, right? But in my walk, the person that I thought I was wanted to be, or I was trying to be, was causing me all this trouble, you know. And when I came into Jesus, and he began to show me who I'm meant to be in him, that changed my whole way of looking at life. It changed the way I carry myself. It changed the way I look at situations. And it gave me the capacity to know who to let into my life. You know, back in the day, I didn't know who I was. You know, I had no idea who I was meant to be. I wasn't standing in a foundation of anything. So I was just getting into different situations, getting involved in different crowds, being influenced by different crowds. And that's what happens when you don't know who you are. And when I say you don't know who you are, I'm talking about in Christ. And because there's peace and there's purpose. You know, when we try to become something else, or we try to be someone else, we can't come into the purpose of what God has for us, because our purpose is going to be whoever God called, and our purpose will come into place when we following in who God called us to be, right? I'm going to give you an example, okay? You know, growing up younger, there was a lot of times where I was just that kid that was quiet, you know what I mean? I wasn't the I wasn't the confrontational type. I didn't like altercations. A lot of times I shied away from them. I made sure to do anything to escalate a situation that could turn confrontational. You know what I mean? And eventually, you know, through dealing with different things due to being that way, I transformed into this person who kind of got sick of being that person. I got tired of being the person that was quiet and never said anything. And me already being insecure, not knowing who I was, so it's easy to just want to become what you're seeing and being influenced by what's around you. That's not to also mention that I'm being surrounded by other people who basically like is making me feel like, oh, well, you're weak or you're this because you don't engage in confrontation. You know what I mean? So eventually it caused me to become this person that became super sensitive. You know what I'm saying? To where I would get upset and angry. I'm talking about infuriated with being tried by someone. I'm talking about the slightest try. You know what I'm saying? That's something that you can easily just be like, you know what I mean? And I would find myself getting infuriated and rage. And instead of taking the correct route, I would take the route that the people around me would take. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like, oh, that would give me some sense of, you know, street cred, or now I'm cool because, you know, I got into this fight, or I bucked at this person. And it's like, even in the midst of finding myself in those situations, it didn't feel right. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, what are you doing, bro? You know what I mean? Like, you don't do this. You know what I'm saying? You don't fight. You don't cussing people out. This ain't even you for real. And because I didn't know who I was, I would just fall into it. You know what I'm saying? But when I, that's way in the past, praise God. But as I've gotten older and as my walk with Christ began, God don't want us out here fighting and cussing people out and, you know what I'm saying, following up just nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So now I know that that's not who I'm meant to be. That's not who I'm called to be. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what the world is saying and people are saying, I'm doing things God's way and there's peace behind it. I'm not saying that it's not going to always be, it's not always easy. God tells us how to act, because sometimes engaging in these confrontations or these like aggressive people could result in something way worse happening. You know what I'm saying? Versus you doing things God's way and not getting yourself involved in that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes getting involved would mean walking away. You don't have to sit there. A lot of times we get stuck in this mentality of wanting people to know, oh, I ain't the one. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna play me. You ain't gonna try me. You know what I'm saying? So we get into this mentality of wanting to be tough. And at one time, I remember I used to admire it. They quick to snap on somebody. They just, with all the smoke, they don't give a freak, because they have this cockiness that I can't nobody beat me. You know what I'm saying? And I've also realized that through them having this sort of mentality, they have also ended up being really mean to people who didn't even deserve it. You know what I'm saying? Because they kind of come off as, well, let me let you know I ain't the one to play with before you even get a chance to try me. I'm going to go, you know what I mean? So they kind of walk in the room with this energy. You know what I'm saying? And even if they feel they just somebody who just got something slick to say all the time. You know what I mean? Like in situations that it didn't even require for you to be snappy. You know what I'm saying? But it's like any little thing, they say something slick. You know what I'm saying? And that's how like confrontation ends up happening, because you being smart at your mouth for nothing. You know what I mean? Because you kind of got this like, I want everybody to know how tough I am kind of mentality. You know what I mean? And that's just not how God called us to be. And when I came into knowing the Lord, I realized that that mental state I was in was wrong. You know what I'm saying? It was wrong. And that's one of the things that I'm really glad about, that I found who I am, because it also gives me the mental capacity to know who to let into my life. One of the things that I did had to do was to come into accountability. You know what I mean? It's so easy to be like, well, they treated me this way and they da 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 da. But it's, coming into accountability honestly can turn into the step that gets you on the right path. First realizing that, something is wrong here. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I did. What eventually, that's what turned that corner into doing things God's way, because I realized you doing things wrong. Something is really wrong here. So some people can't change because they haven't they haven't been able to swallow that pill of truth to come into realization that a change needs to be had. Some people they can't take that, hey, something is wrong with me. So instead, when somebody else try to bring their attention, they flip, they spaz, they go off, they cut you out, they hang up, they walk off, whatever, because they're not ready to admit that they're the problem. I had to come into reality of my part in what was going wrong. You know what I mean? And that's what I had to come to terms with. Like, what I had to come to realization that I'm doing something wrong here. You are looking for fulfillment in the wrong ways. You look into everything else to fulfill this void that you have, and the more you dig to look for it in other people, the worse that it gets. The more you need it, because the more you try to find it in other people, the more that they're disappointing you, the more that they're making it worse. And when I say I'm talking about myself back then, you know what I'm saying? The more I'm looking in the wrong place, searching the wrong places, the more that this hole of this void or this fulfillment that I was looking for was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You know what I'm saying? I became more and more desperate for it eventually until I basically like hit rock bottom. And the issue was I was looking to everybody but the one who could fulfill me the way that I needed to, which was Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And when I gave my life over to Jesus, he was able to fill those voids and give me understanding of what was wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? You look into everybody else except me. And I'm the only one that can fulfill you, that can fill those voids. You looking for everybody else to do it. I am the only one that can do that. You know what I'm saying? And when I came into that realization, light bulbs went off, the veil came off, my eyes was open, the lights came on, the clouds went away, the sun came out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like, you know what I mean? So I remember being like, in hindsight, I'm like, whoa, I was really in darkness and didn't even realize it. I was running for happiness, running for joy, running for peace, and was running away from it. I didn't even realize it. So that's why my life was becoming more and more complicated, more and more frustrated. I was becoming more and more hurt, more and more in pain, more and more busted, more and more broken. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm running away from the peace and the joy that I was looking for, which was in Jesus. Okay? So if you're someone who you're kind of just going in circles, maybe it's time to take a look at yourself. You know what I'm saying? If your life is going in circles and it's just bad after bad after bad after bad, and just when you think you're coming up for a little air, whoosh, you get drugged back down underwater, and you can't figure out why, maybe you might need to take a look at yourself. You know what I'm saying? Now, that's not to say when you turn your life over to Jesus that, oh, life is just going to be perfect now. But I think you'll be able to distinguish the difference between when things are happening to you because that's just a part of, life or your walk with God, that everything's just not going to be you know what I'm saying? And between that and in between things happening to you that you know deep down inside is an issue with you. You know what I'm saying? I knew the whole time that I wasn't happy and that I didn't want to be in this position I was in. But I didn't know how to get out. You know what I'm saying? I remember being times where I would pray, like, Lord, I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to be. It was almost like I was obsessed with the chase of joy and peace and happiness behind people. You know what I'm saying? It's like I knew, like, this isn't the way to go. It's like I knew it, but I couldn't come out of it. I guess the name of this will be called, like, finding yourself in the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Because only then will you truly have the sense to do things the right way. And the right way may not always be the easy way, but the right way is the best way. And the only way you'll truly know the right way is if you look to God, because he's the only one that is the right way. You know what I'm saying? So anybody out there who's struggling with themselves, who they're meant to be, who they're called to be, or you're making choices that seem way outside of what you're supposed to be doing, and life is getting uncontrollably confusing, you might want to go take a look at yourself and figure out, what's missing? You know what I mean? Am I really seeking God? Am I really seeking after the face of Jesus? Am I really in my Bible? Am I really trying to understand the word? Am I really trying to chase after him for real? You know what I'm saying? Or am I just somebody who's like, oh yeah, I know who Jesus is. Oh yeah, I believe in Jesus, and your belief goes no further than that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all about just wanting Jesus at the end of the day. Wanting to get your understanding, your knowledge, your wisdom from him, wanting the love, the peace, the mercy, you know, the path he wants for you, the calling over your life, the gifts, like lead and guide me how to use whatever gifts that you put on my life. What are they? How can I utilize them? You know what I'm saying? For your name. What's the purpose I'm supposed to be in? What path? My path ain't even important. What path do you have for me? What road would you want me to take? Because I don't want to be doing anything that's going to have me outside of his will. You know what I'm saying? Because the reward in heaven is great. That's not to say you won't get blessed here on earth. You know what I'm saying? But I believe the main focus should be having your name written in that book of life, bro. You know what I'm saying? Pleasing the Lord. That should be what you see more than, you know what I'm saying, just wanting to follow God to see the blessings that may come on you here in this life. You know what I'm saying? Because I've even had to check myself in that, you know what I'm saying, to make sure, like, this walk with God needs to be about God and about getting into heaven. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting things here on earth, you know, wanting to live a comfortable life or wanting to have a spouse and all that stuff like that, but that shouldn't be the motivation behind why you following Christ. You know what I'm saying? Because you looking for some earthly reward. You feel me? You know what I mean? Just really seeking the face of God so that he can reveal to you your heart, reveal to you your, you know, the things that you're doing that needs to change. Because if you're looking to him to show you things, why wouldn't he show you? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if you enjoyed, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more and share. And I will see you in the next one.